This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, so yesterday we were trying to talk about how do we make some AMI, and so also we talked about how we can centralize our code, right? So that's what is another piece we talked about, and follow to that. So we started making. We wanted to make a CI/CD, and that's where we were talking about. Setting up the pipelines. We started with a couple of pipeline. We'll set up the others. Okay, so we started with the RS frontend and cart. I think cart is available now here as an artifact. Okay, cool. And so the next one is the other components. Okay, let me just open the editor. Content, and in here also I have to put the same content, and I think this is fine. This is okay, and so publish. This is fine. This is all fine, but here you have to say that it is catalog. Okay, push the code, and the same applies to user as well. So just put this, and you just change this as user, and everything is as is, no change. Okay, let me set up a new pipeline. And it is Azure repos, and it is catalog, and run. So publish artifacts will not happen. Of course, we need to create a tag to get it done. So here, get the tag. It started running. Let's wait for it to whether it is publishing the artifacts or not. Its publish artifacts is running. Cool. And the publish artifacts is fine. If you look into the artifacts, you got one. Okay, let's go to the pipeline and set up a new pipeline. and go with the Azure repos, and it's actually RS user, and just click on run. Okay, so cd dot slash rs hyphen user git tag git push tags. Before the pipeline was ready, actually I pushed the tag, it didn't work. Okay, user still it is not coming. Why? So user, you made it star star. Well, all good. Yeah, it's only like before pipeline is ready, I just first ran actually before the pipeline is ready, I kind of triggered it, pushed it, it didn't work. That's okay. Now this will going to make the artifacts. Yeah, it will publish. And the other one I will just go with is payment. You can go, or shipping. Shipping, you don't have that file at all. Just take this. Yeah. So now here also the trigger is same, pool is same, but mkdir publish is not really immediately. Before to that, I just want to run something like script, and here you're going to say MVN. Okay, so package. Okay, and here you're going to have a display name, compile code. Okay, all right, so you're going to just first compile the code. Why I'm doing the compile code, I'll just take it in later sessions, but actually, so the shipping is a Java code, and until then it was just the Node.js. It's a JavaScript. It's a scripting language. You don't require the compilation. You just downloaded the dependencies. But this one is little tricky, so it's not tricky, I would say. So this is the approach of this programming language Java to compile the code. Okay, I compiled the code, and you created a directory. So then what you have to do is you have to cp, you have to just go with target slash shipping hyphen 1.0 dot jar file. It generates one jar file, shipping hyphen just this one as shipping dot jar file. I want to copy as shipping dot jar file, and you make the artifacts ready and you push it to shipping. Okay, so this is the difference I have. Now new pipeline, and which is available in Azure, this one only. So shipping, and you have save. Okay, I didn't run actually really, I just saved it because it's going to take a little longer time. So just to avoid the duplication run, I did this. Then rs hyphen shipping ls git space tag 0.0.1 and git space push hyphen tags. Okay, you just saved it. But where is that all? shipping. Okay, let's run it once. But the run will take at least 4 or 5 minutes. That's the problem. Yeah, this map and downloads a lot of dependencies, so that takes a bit time. So probably in the meantime, we can go with the other one as well. So payment. So payment require what? Payment require, okay, payment requires something like this only. And so you don't require this. So here you require some files to be copied. So what all the files you have to do is payment.ini and payment.py and rabbitmq.py and then requirements.txt file. Okay, so this is what I have. What's this? So go to the pipelines, create a new pipeline, and I will say this payment run. Okay, so this is ran and rs hyphen payment git space tag 0.1 git space push tags. What's happening? For every tag it is not running. Not sure. Not sure completely why it's not doing. Okay, whatever it is. So now it ran and I think it published the artifact, so payment is available. Okay, and the last one, so which is shipping one, so this time also it will run and it will publish like last time also it ran, but it just takes time. Okay, that's the only problem which you have here, so which we can address it with some other way, but later we'll think about that, but for now it's okay. So we are getting the artifact, so now we are getting the artifact. So what you can do now, you can go and create AMIs for everything, right? So yesterday we are trying to do that. So now if I go to the releases, so you have so if there is a tag created, or you're going to say that, so the front end, yeah, so here this the pipelines which you have is the cart pipeline. So now I'll go and click on edit. So basically, if there is any artifact which is created, automatically this should trigger. Okay, so now how do I do that? I'll just go to the artifact and I'll say that, I'll be going with the Azure artifacts, and the feed is DevOps 53, and it is universal packages, and so it is going to be, what is this one, cart one. Okay, and the default version is basically latest. Okay, so and we are putting it under underscore cart. Okay, no problem. Okay, all right, so just click on save, and also this should do the deployment. I mean, if there is any new artifact came into the cart, it should trigger this pipeline. That's what I'm telling. Okay, click on save. Now I'll go to the pipeline and I will just trigger my cart. Okay, so cd dot dot cd rs hyphen cart. Now rs hyphen cart, so git space tag hyphen l list I'm giving. So there are 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 you have. Now I'm going to go for git space tag 0.0.4 git space push tags. I'm expecting this pipeline to trigger since I pushed it. Oh, cart. Yeah. So cart got triggered. So cart will publish an artifact. Now artifact is published. Then automatically pipeline will be triggered because there is a relation maintained there. Okay. Automatically. Let's wait whether it is actually doing it or not. Okay. So now I go to the releases. I go to the cart. A new one got triggered. You see this? It's running automatically. I didn't do anything. So the AMI is getting triggered. So yeah, all I need to wait for is, so here Ansible command will run. That Ansible command is actually getting that particular new tag or not. We need to find it out. Okay, so because my Ansible code should download the appropriate version, right? So whenever the tag is created, so that version only it has to pick it up. Okay, so yeah. I'm just waiting for the Ansible command to trigger. Yeah. So now let's see this Ansible command. So you got the app artifact version is empty. So app artifact version, why you got empty? Because you are actually taking this how. Let's refer the code. So Terraform AMI. So instance.tf. Now, if you see this, how are you taking this particular one is where app underscore artifact underscore version. Now, how do you get this particular version? So from a variable, okay. So that's where I go to I went with the task groups because I'm using task groups, AMI task group, and over here, so actually you're putting like so underscore app, right? Now, what you have given there in the releases, what you have done is you did some mistake. So click on edit, so just go with the so here it actually front end, here it has to be app. That's the thing you have to do. So click on edit, and here actually it has to be app, then only it will work. Just app, then only it will work, otherwise it will not work. Okay, so that I know that while I'm making it, but yeah, I just want to show you that there's a problem. Now what AMI is doing still going on, so it's actually destructing because it's a failure. Okay, so now I will go with the new release once again. So create with the new release and just click on create it. Manually edited. So because automated was a failure, now I'm going with manual. So this time also we'll wait for that Ansible before proceeding with the other ones, because we're not sure the changes which we made is really working or not working. So just want to grab that information. Okay, so the Ansible command is triggered now. Let's see whether that version came in. Yes, that version coming. So the only thing is how to ensure that, so the source I have given as app as a word. Okay, because I'm using the appropriate variables there. Seems this also is going a failure. So name Node.js, there is some error. Couldn't resolve. Some problem is there with the Node.js. Hmm. This is something problem with the no npm command. So it's not our thing. Uh, but I'm just thinking like, how come, first of all, it's actually setting up the robo project, which is fine. Gathering the facts, which is fine. Then task include common role is okay. Include common role, you have the Node.js dependencies. Okay, let's take a look on Ansible, what all you have. So you have a common, okay, so first of all, which one? This is not there. Yeah. So, no, not this one even. So just go with RoboShop project roles. So the cart is actually calling in.yml file. So it's actually calling Node.js. Okay, let's go to the common. Let's go to the task and Node.js.yaml. So first of all, it has to do the OS prerequisites. This was not done. This was not done. Okay, this was not done. And directly, how can it do download Node.js dependencies? Okay, okay, couldn't resolve community.general.npm. So which version is installing? I think 2.9. Ansible 2.9 is installing. We are using the code of 2. This one. Yeah, that makes sense. So here you just go with npm. Okay, so here you go with simply yum. All right. All right. So let's wait this time. Okay. So again, some. I push the code. And why it is still showing that, community.general.npm. Okay, so better let's do something else. And here I will go with a shell one. And if it is a shell, and then I have to give npm install and shell module. Let's go with the shell module, Ansible. So if I want to go into a separate directory and do that, so then chdar args and then chdar. You go inside this directory and you do it. Okay, so this is what you have, and shell and then args. Okay, let's try once again. I will go and deploy the same one. No release is needed. Why? Because the Ansible code is the one which is modified. None of these, so none of these artifacts is modification. So that's the reason I'm just doing this. This is bad. I don't know what's happening. What is this couldn't resolve action? I'm not sure. Okay, let me do one thing. Um, let me try it out on a machine. Let me take a new machine and first of all run that command and see how it is going. Then I'll think about that. Because this is taking a longer time, right? So because every time pipeline takes a couple of minutes. Error loading data, nice. Community MIs, DevOps hyphen practice. Okay. What is the command it's running? I'll go here and I'll just take this command. Sudo yeah. So include common role, so that is a problem. All right, so you're giving component equal to cart. Okay, so but I didn't give tag as cart. Okay, so fine, still you're getting the same error. So what it is telling is a could not resolve action community.general.npm is often increase a misspelling, miscollection, or incorrect module path. That's fine. In the Node.js in the common task node in line number 19 and 3. in line number 19 and the third column. Yeah, so I just replaced that and I am having a shell module now. So why it is still looking for npm? Okay, let me go to the repos, cross-checking. What is, let's see the code here. So here, whatever the code is there, that's the right code. Okay, so rules and then common and then task and then node.js.yml file. So here it is still same. So somehow it is not getting pushed, but it's saying it is pushing. So git space push origin at the main, I think main or master main. Oh, okay. It, and then config where it is pointed to DevOps 53 Ansible. Hmm. Okay, I tried to push the code. Now let's take a look. Now it's modified. Somehow I don't know what happened. Previously it didn't happen. Okay. Hmm. All right. If that is the case, let's run this once again. Okay, it's going through. And now I can just go and run this pipeline. Releases, release. Okay, so now it's going through. So now we can go with the other things, like you can go to the cart is done. So now you can go to the catalog and you can do the same thing. So now I would say I would like to add, and add is Azure artifact, and I will go with 53, and it's gonna go, and it's a universal, and it's a package, catalog package. You take the latest version, and also we're going to say that it is app. Okay, and you have to enable the deployment trigger. So save it. Okay, now click on create release. Let's do it manually only. This is the one. So now the next one is user. So user is this one, and click on edit. So now the user artifact will add as a source. Okay, so then 53, and universal user app. So add, save. Okay, this also deployment trigger. If anything comes, this has to create automatically. Create a release. Create it. So let's wait for these also to complete. The EMI is getting created, but I'm just saying, like, the runners are should be free. I don't know. It's saying, like, it's waiting for the jobs to finish, because parallel job it cannot run, and it's supposed to run basically because we are using free open pro. I mean, the projects are not private actually; it's public only. And the agents also we have chosen Azure only, Azure pipelines. If you go here, the agent actually we have chosen Azure pipelines. So hosted Azure pipelines. Cart is done, I think catalog triggered. So after catalog is done, so then it will go with user in that case. Okay, so let it be. So then the next one is let's go to the shipping, and we'll do the shipping as well. So I'll just go to the shipping, and I will add artifact feed 53, and it's universal, and package is shipping, goes with the latest, and I will say it is app. In the same way, I'll go to payment and get release. No, sorry, edit. Here also we're going to add the artifact. So here we are going to say it's 3 universal payment. Just click app. So nothing, nothing we can do in the meantime. So we just need to wait for those pipelines to get it, the image created. So this is not needed. This is not needed. This is not needed. Not needed. Register. So we're making the new MIs with the version number. All right. So I'll go to the snapshots and I'll delete them. So that I'll save some cost. I'll just put like delete. Only the snapshots which are possible for deletion, those only will get deleted. So the rest of the things will not get deleted. So because some AMIs are already there, some servers are already there. So it will not delete everything. If I just go and say delete, it will error out. Okay, error is fine. So two AMIs are there, two snapshots is left over. You go to the AMIs, you can see this two. Third one is getting registered. And go to the snapshots. Third one will come once update is done. So once we have all the AMIs ready, so probably we can just start, setting up our whole infra. Okay, so whole infra, we are going to set it up, and that leads to the whole application setup, and in the once we have the application, then we'll talk about the standard. I mean, so whether it is really working with the load or not. Okay, so one single request you are making on the UI. So first of all our setup. So if I say deploy the infra, so then it will create VPC, that will create everything one by one everything. And after that, if I just click on that particular so the web page, everything should be expected to be working. Okay, that's the first thing. So once after we do that, so then we start putting some load on the our application. and then that load will tell us whether it is really performing well or it is breaking. Okay, we'll get some understanding. Okay, so yeah, and while the load, how much load is coming, so how can you monitor the things, what's happening, is everything good or some bad is going on? Okay, so we have to get some kind of insights of what is happening. So uh, so how do you do that particular whole setup? Okay, so that's the next level. But first of all, this AMI should be completed. I think some reason like Azure is not giving the agents. It might be busy or something, or it has some thresholds running or something. But usually you can run the things in parallel. I'm having agents, but it's not working. Posted agent. Agent pools. So other agents are there. I'm not sure why it is not picking it up. Interesting. Okay, so let's wait for this AMI at least to come up, and so I think the other ones catalog is still going on. Yeah, in 4 5 minutes it will be ready. So 4 minutes is already done. 1 or 2 minutes it should be done.
I have a different question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, when I get the Dynamo in my Dynamo DB, when I get the lock state error from running a pipeline, and if I clean up, if I delete that row, is that the best approach to delete the row?
Yeah, you can delete. See, what you are actually doing is DynamoDB you're doing is you are actually using, see, directly S3 doesn't allow you a locking mechanism. The first problem. Okay, so if someone is actually trying to modify the file, someone else also can modify the file. So that is okay. So that is a problem with the S3. So what you're doing is you are actually going to you're telling your Terraform that so I am going to use your locking mechanism and I'll modify that particular file. Then this Terraform will not directly touch the S3. It always look for the lock on that particular resource. If that lock is already there, then it will not touch it. Okay, so that doesn't mean S3 you can modify. You can use any other program and you can still modify the S3 file. Since it is own, every request is going through Terraform you are actually putting a middle layer and saying that I'll use your locking mechanism, and it's kind of that Terraform works the functionality. It always checks it, and if there is a lock it will not work. Okay, so sometimes what happens, your pipelines fails and you have to cancel them, or if it's been stuck somewhere and you have to cancel some pipeline, so cancellation will not clean up that particular lock basically. Okay, so because it asks for yes or no or something. Okay, so you cannot prompt because it's a pipeline, and you have to force cancel it, and you have to go there and clean that particular lock, and it's all not a real database. It's a dummy line. It keep it to just to maintain the lock. That's it. You don't need to bother that much on that, at least with Terraform. It's good only.
Yeah, so I did that, right, and making changes to the code, running multiple times the release pipeline. At some point in the game, I got a different error, which was error loading state data in S3 does not have the expected content, and it was pointing to a lock that I had deleted. So I troubleshooted a lot. Then I ended up taking the backup of the DynamoDB table and recreating it, and starting from killing, destroying the VPC and recreating it, and then started working fine.
Yeah,
So I
you
don't.
can remove that line. You can safely remove that line, not a problem. If nothing is working, if you know that it is causing the issue because of that, then you can safely go and delete that particular one. So you can just
Yes, ended up deleting the whole table and then taking a backup and recreating the table.
yeah.
Then it.
If the table is entry is not there, it will recreate it again. You know, to bother that much. The table, you go there. So in the item, so you're having, and it's not even a complete table, right? So currently there is one thing going on, which is for user AMI is going on. You know that is running, right? So you better don't delete this. Like rest of the things, you're safe to delete them. No issues. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere down in the middle or somewhere down later, it started to reference that old lock that I had deleted. So I recreated the DynamoDB table and then it worked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not sure. Where are we? So catalog is done. You just moved on to user. And after user shipping and so payment will go through. Okay, so I think other than waiting, we cannot do much for now. So let the AMIs get ready for today. Anyhow, I already triggered the pipeline. It's just a matter of so the pipelines are, the agents are available to create it. So anyhow, just simply sitting idle will not help us. So we'll come back tomorrow. So by tomorrow, so these pipelines will be completed anyhow in 10-15 minutes later. These pipelines will be completed, and after that, we'll have all the AMIs ready. So once we have all the AMIs ready, so we can go and okay, so trigger our infra pipelines, and we'll see that everything is going in smoother, and are we having any kind of issue. So there is one more part we still have to deal, which is databases. We didn't talk about that. So we'll go with the databases as well, and we'll put everything through Terraform. And yeah, as I mentioned, so our application should work with the high load capacity as well. Okay, so how much it can, how much capacity it can bear, and also we'll come with some benchmarks. Okay, so yeah, that's how we decide so the benchmarks. And once we decide the benchmark, so then we configure the auto scaling rules as well. So far we just configure the auto scaling groups, but we didn't configure any auto scaling rules are the one which define the node when to increase, when to decrease, and things like that. So those things will just go and so tune them as well, and we'll have our whole application. If any component is actually kind of getting high load kind of thing, so then automatically it will just go and increase more servers. And yeah, so that's how we get it. Okay, all right, I think that's all from my side for today. Any questions? Okay, all right, no questions. We'll continue in tomorrow's session then. Yeah, thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye. Good night.